Welcome back to my channel. I hope you're well. One thing to know, my neighbours are doing construction next door, so I was trying to do this at a time that they would be finished, but they're not, so I'm just going to proceed. So there might be some drilling and stuff, but I will try and edit as much of it as I possibly can out in post-production. We shall see how this goes. So I am fresh out of the shower, big red face, and we are going to talk about the Kat Von D Lock-It foundation. Just making sure I got that name right. I got given this as a press sample. I went to the launch here in Dublin of their eyebrow products, and this was like used on my face, so they let me bring it home with them. No, not with them. They let me bring it home with me, which was very nice of them, and I'd never tried it before. I had tried the concealer and I really liked this, and I'm actually really liking this as well. So I wanted to, rather than do a written review, which is generally what I do over on Beautynook.ie, I thought I would do a video review and kind of show you how it works and show you in physical form rather than pictures. So I need to prime. I will put my hair back because that will get really irritating. I have oily skin. Oops, don't knock everything else down. I have oily skin, as you probably know, so I'm a bit funny when it comes to primers, and I'm a bit like unnecessary. So at the minute I'm using two. I don't need to use two probably, but I do, and I have two, so I just use them. So I use the Fenty Pro Filter, 2 pumps of that, and I use that all over my face. This kind of feels like skincare going on. I did do a review of this, so it's over on Beautynook.ie if you're interested. I'm going to put that on all over the face, and I kind of bring that up under my eyes as well because I feel like it doesn't get too drying under there. And then in my T-zone, I have been using, this is new to me, I only bought this a couple of weeks ago. This is the Urban Decay Optical Illusion Complexion Primer. And I know a couple of people, I just take a pump of this. A couple of people have been talking about this balling up on them. And it kind of does, but it blends out at the same time, if that makes sense. Sorry, I'm just looking in the mirror. Yeah, like you can kind of see there, you can see it on the skin, but it doesn't feel like textured or anything. I think it blends in, and my skin has actually really been enjoying it. Like I could just use that on its own. I'm just being fancy and using two. But yeah, so far I've been really enjoying this primer, and it does a good job at like filling in my pores and all that stuff. So as you can probably see, but not perfectly, I've pretty, like, my skin's a bit bleh, to be honest. I have large pores in my T-zone. I get breakouts. Generally, like, I'm nearly 33 now and I still get hormonal breakouts, and I get oily skin breakouts as well. But I am dehydrated on my forehead, so I have a couple of lines there that like to greet me every morning, and I try to use the primer to kind of fill them in a little bit as well. Yeah, I definitely have texture and like blocked comedones and stuff like that. So you'll kind of see what my skin looks like now, and then as I apply the foundation. Now I have to say, as this is a disclaimer, I don't know. You can hear the noise, I apologise. I've been actually really enjoying mixing this because, again, I like to mix things. I do feel like a chemist when I do it, and I've been mixing it with the Estee Lauder Double Wear Nude. I really like this foundation, but it's a very light coverage foundation, and it doesn't last like it lasts a few hours on me, but it doesn't last really long on me. So I generally mix it with something that's a bit more long lasting, and kind of for everyday use I mix like a good splodge of this, and then like maybe a little pump of this, and use that over all my face because this kind of gives more coverage and longevity. But for the purpose of this video, I will just use this on its own. So they say about this that it's 24-hour wear, full coverage, transfer resistant, and a matte finish. I can concur with that so far. I have the shade Light 46 Cool. Just in case you don't believe me, there it is. I got colour matched at the counter. I will say it definitely oxidizes. So this is probably a shade too dark for me, but it's May now, coming into June. So like I am getting a little bit of a colour. A little bit. Like I am pale AF, but I do get a little bit of a colour. So I can get away with it, it's fine. So what I generally like to use to apply this is a buffing brush. That's generally what I use to apply all my foundations because I have large pores and I like to kind of buff it in, or use a damp sponge, and that works pretty well as well. So I have my Zoeva 102 Silk Finish. Everybody always asks me about that because I have this and I have the 110 Face Shape, and these are pretty much the same brush, just one is much smaller than the other. This is the foundation brush, and then I use this one for concealer, and I definitely bought this because I saw Lisa Eldridge use it. So yeah, I have both of them, and people always ask me what I'm using, so that is what I'm using. So with this foundation, I just like to kind of pump it onto my hands. It has a pretty thick consistency, but it does blend, so don't let that put you off. Because like I know, like with the Clinique Beyond Perfecting, I find that such a bitch to blend, so I kind of give up with it. So I generally like put a couple of blobs on and then blend, and then I go in with a couple of layers. Just for me, I feel that works the best. But I really like how it blends. I really like the finish. To me, it's like a satin matte finish, so it's not like, it doesn't make your skin look really crusty or anything. I think it blends over my knobbly bits on my face pretty well, and it does a really good job of, like, I generally, like, unless I have like big whopper zits or anything, I don't have to go in with any face concealer. I just use it under my eyes. So that's one layer. So like I could easily go and be happy enough with this, but we like to be a bit extra, so I'm going to put another. I would say what I'm using altogether is like maybe a pump and a half. I find the pump a bit messy, I won't lie, because the packaging has like it's like encased, and I can find that it gets quite messy, but I'm okay with it. It doesn't bother me. So you can see like my redness is nearly instantaneously gone, which is one of the banes of my life, because anytime I like rub my face or I get warm or have a few too many alcoholic beverages, I get a red face. And I also find that it glides over, like as I said, I have dehydration on my forehead, so I have a few lines that are coming through worse and worse on a daily basis, and I find that this blends over them quite nicely too. Like it doesn't settle too much, which is always a worry when it comes to like a thicker foundation. I personally don't take foundation up under my eyes, just because I think it's a bit too much for under the eyes. I will stick to concealer for there, so you'll definitely see like the difference in discoloration. But if you do, if it's something you do, I'm sure this would conceal pretty well as well, that you wouldn't need too much more concealer under there. So I'll insert, hopefully if my editing skills are good enough, a before picture around about here, so you can kind of see what my skin looked like beforehand, and then this is it with probably maybe a pump and a little of the foundation blended in. So the coverage is brilliant, I think. I'm actually just looking at it really closely in a mirror so I can give you an honest view. But I really like the coverage. I find that it's really full coverage, but it's not really thick and uncomfortable. Like I can't feel it on my skin. And that's one thing I find with thicker foundation. I also find that like I often lose foundation, particularly around these parts as well as my T-zone. And I find that it wears really well on me, and I still have foundation on my jaw at the end of the day, which is not a very regular occurrence for me, because I assume it's from me touching my face or whatever, but here especially I lose foundation. Yeah, I find that like even though I have a couple of blemishes here and that, they could probably do with more concealing, but the redness is gone and that's all I really care about. And when I powder over top, they will look kind of less frantic and upset. So that's another thing that I like, because it kind of cuts down on the thought process. You don't have to use a face concealer if you don't want to, unless you have a big burly zit on your face. Yeah, I think if you suffer with like redness or pigmentation, I think it would definitely do a good job of covering things up without looking like a mask on your skin, because you still can kind of feel your skin coming through. Right at this minute it does feel tacky on me, but that does die down, and I've actually kind of tested it without powder, as in like, you know, I haven't gone out without powder because that's kind of a scary thought process for me, but I have kind of worn it around the house and it has lasted really well. I will get a bit shiny in my usual areas like here and here, but overall it kind of stays intact on my skin as well, which is a big deal because like obviously I have oilier skin. I think if you have a drier skin, I think it would still work quite well, but you probably don't want the matte finish of it. So maybe if you wanted like the more full coverage effect, you could use a more illuminating primer underneath, and it would have the same full coverage effect, but you would have a bit of shine coming through, and you wouldn't have to powder either, which is awesome. The moral of the story is really that I like it, and it definitely gets a thumbs up from me. And I wasn't expecting to like it because I'm a bit of a bitch when it comes to full coverage foundation, ironically, considering I don't like my skin. But usually, like as I said, the Clinique Beyond Perfecting and like the Estee Lauder Double Wear, I just find them too thick and too hard to work with, that I just couldn't be arsed. But I find this blends out and I don't have to faff around with too much. As you saw, like that was a real time, pretty much interpretation of how long it takes me to blend out my foundation. So yeah, I've been rambling on for 15 minutes now, so I should probably stop and I will finish my makeup. I'll come back to you at the end. So I just wanted to check in the middle of my makeup routine because I have done my eyes and set under them and concealed under them as well, but I haven't done that into my skin yet. So I just kind of wanted to show you where it does be at about 20 minutes or so into my makeup. It's still looking pretty good. You can see there's a little bit of a shine to it. Like, I don't find it completely matte on my skin, and the tackiness has died down and it just kind of feels more satin to the touch. It doesn't feel like it's going to move or anything like that either. And I am pretty happy now to just use the translucent powder. I'm going to use the Kryolan translucent powder over top of this and use like a bronzer, blush, highlight and a setting powder or setting spray. I know that sounds like a lot, but that's just what I do, and I like to kind of add a bit more structure to my face, especially when I've used a more full coverage foundation. But it has oxidized slightly, so it is a little bit darker, but I do have a bit of tan on, so it kind of looks more normal. But I'm still pretty happy with how it looks. Like, none of the shine has come through as of yet. It just has a bit of a glow, but that's more the foundation than my skin. And I thought I would end this video in full makeup just so you can kind of see what it looks like when everything is whacked on my face. But I really like this foundation, I have to say. As I said, I'm not a huge fan of the pump on it because it gets really messy. It does oxidize slightly, but that just kind of means you have to be wary of your colour match, maybe get a sample if you can. But other than that, I really like this. And I have to admit, I generally really like the Kat Von D brand as well. Also, it's 10 years old this year, can you believe that? I definitely haven't been using it for 10 years, but everything I have generally used from the brand I really like, and this is no exception. So we shall leave it there. If you have any questions or anything kind of specific to ask about it that I haven't kind of covered, just ask me in the comments below or over in my blog post over at beautynook.ie, and I will answer it. That's no problem at all, because I don't always remember to put everything into visual form. When I'm writing it, I'm much better at remembering everything. Anyway, if you like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe. I really appreciate it, and I shall talk to you in my next video. Thanks for watching. Bye.